Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the Moroccan city of Tangier. And look, the one thing you need to know right from the start is that this is a city you just can't put in a box. Tangier isn't really defined by one single identity, but by this constant, fascinating friction between many. So let's get into what that actually means. So close, yet so different. Honestly, it just says it all, doesn't it? For a lot of people in southern Spain, Tangier is a city you can literally see right across the water. It feels familiar, but as we're about to see, it operates on a completely different wavelength. It's a place of, ancestral customs and surprising skies, all sitting right there on Europe's doorstep. And that's the gap. Just 14 kilometers. That's less than 9 miles across the Strait of Gibraltar. On a good day, you can stand on the African coast and see Spain. It's one of the shortest distances between two continents, anywhere on Earth. But wow, does that tiny strip of water hide a world of difference? Okay, Section 1, Europe at Africa's Gate. This is a story about a place that was basically destined to be a crossroads. People often call it the Gate of Africa. And for good reason. This is the exact spot where the wild Atlantic Ocean slams into the much calmer Mediterranean Sea. Because of this incredible strategic choke point, Tangier has been irresistible throughout history. As one writer put it, everyone wanted to have a foot here. And that desire left behind a city built of so many different layers. All right, Section 2, a crossroads of history. This city is basically a layer cake of different historical influences. So you have the city's Casbah, its old fortress that was built by the Portuguese, the super famous Blue City of Chefchaouen nearby. It was founded by Andalusian refugees who were kicked out of Spain. Then, for decades in the 20th century, Tangier was this international zone, a famously neutral playground for spies, artists, and diplomats. And its time as a Spanish protectorate means that Spanish is still spoken fluently all over its streets. And if you want a story that just perfectly captures the vibe of that international zone period, get this. In the legendary Hotel Minza, one wing housed Nazi officials and the other housed the Allies. Can you even imagine that? They were living side by side in this bizarre, neutral bubble while the rest of the world was at war. That is the kind of wild, almost surreal history that Tangier is made of. So, Section 3, Tradition Meets the World. All of that history has created this really fascinating and kind of messy social mashup you see today. This is where you see the daily collision of two completely different worlds. On one side, life revolves around deep, deep tradition. All the shops pause for Friday prayers, families sacrifice lambs for the festival of Eid al-Kabir, and most women are veiled. But then, in the very same city, you've got this cosmopolitan culture where people switch between Arabic, Spanish, and French without missing a beat. Greetings can involve a whole bunch of kisses, and tourist hotels can serve alcohol, which is a huge deal in Morocco. And just when you think you've got a handle on the place, Tangier just throws you a curveball. In the traditional markets, the zocos, you'll find this really surprising role reversal. Here, it's the men who are the tailors. As one person noted, it's the men who sew, the women don't know how. It's just another little detail that shows you how hard the city is to pin down. All right, Section 4, a tale of two economies. And honestly, this might be the biggest, most jarring contrast of them all. We're talking about a massive divide. The story is right here in the numbers. The average monthly salary for a local in Tangier, it's about 300 euros. Now look at the rent for a pretty modest apartment for a foreigner, 400 euros. Let that sink in for a second. The cost of a simple place to live for an expat is more than what an average local person earns in an entire month. That one fact explains so much about the pressures in the city. And that brings us to this just staggering claim. That 14-kilometer stretch of water we talked about, some people call it the border with the single biggest difference in standard of living in the entire world. It's not just a gap, it's a chasm. a chasm you can literally see with your own eyes.
And you see these two extremes everywhere. On one hand, there is a massive boom happening. Luxury villas are selling for millions of euros. Huge global brands like Inditex, the company that owns Zara, have giant factories here. And the city is pouring money into new infrastructure to get ready to co-host the 2030 World Cup. But then, on the other hand, you see the human cost. You see elderly people and kids begging on the streets. You see camps of sub-Saharan migrants, just waiting for a chance to risk their lives on a boat to Europe. And you have the grim reality that Tangier is a major entry point for drugs coming into the continent.
So, after all that, what have we learned? After looking at its history, its culture, its economy, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Tangier isn't just a city with contrasts. No, it is a city of contrasts. That tension, that push and pull, that is its identity. It all comes together in the daily life of the city. You see it in the ancient Medinas right next to shiny modern World Cup infrastructure. You feel it in the deep piety of public prayers happening just blocks away from a really permissive expat scene. It's the paradox of global luxury brands getting made in a low-wage economy. It's a place that is at once the gateway to Africa and a desperate launchpad from it. It's a city where these deep ancestral customs are forced to share the road with completely chaotic modern traffic. And that leaves us with this one big thought. With the World Cup coming and all this money pouring in, Tangier is changing faster than ever. So the question is, as it modernizes, as it hurtles towards the future, can it hold on to that complicated, messy, and totally captivating soul that all these contrasts have created? Or will one side finally win out over the other?